Ba-ba-ba-ba-dow. Ladies and gents, welcome. Welcome back to another episode of A Thompson and Other Disappointments. On a Friday night where we all congregate, don't we? We all meet up here 7:30, week in, week out, and we try to make sense of the senselessness once more at the end of each week. And that's why we're here tonight. People, listeners, viewers, for another week of barrel scraping lows that we've all enjoyed and endured. What's up to the people in the live chat? My goodness, there's a lot of people in there tonight. How are we doing? What's up? I'll just wait for the chat to catch up. Sometimes it takes a minute, doesn't it? Hope you're all well. Diz, Ellie, Mojo Sabian's in the house. Brian White's dropped a cheeky super chat. What's up, Brian? Jim Speak, Unquiet Badger is joining us this evening. I hope you are all well. And I hope you have all endured the week as successfully as I have. Another week of barrel scraping lows like those exhibited stateside over in the US. The old US of A. Land of the free, guys. Stateside with people like Dean Cain. Dean Cain of Superman fame. Of Lois and Clark fame. He was cast as the Caped Crusader in the mid to late 90s. And then cast aside by Hollywood so cruelly. Thereafter, he had so much more to give, people. And like so many falling stars, he then pivoted to right-wing politics, didn't he? Presumably as a means of maintaining that attention, those crowds, that adulation. It's not dissimilar to Lawrence Fox, is it? When you come to think of it. You know, these actors, these sort of falling stars who then pivot to the alt-right or to the far-right in some cases. Who else was it? We had Kevin Sorbo. Anybody remember the name Kevin Sorbo from back in the day? He was the guy that played Hercules, also in the sort of late 90s, I think. Pivoted right, outspoken critic of the Bidens, supporter of Donald Trump. Mel Gibson was Braveheart until he got himself in some bother in Malibu, driving drunk, abusing a female cop on the highway. I own Malibu, is what he shouted at her, called her sugar tits. Don't know if you remember this stuff. It all sort of fades into the ether, doesn't it? But yeah, honestly, the failed actor to right-wing pipeline needs to be studied, doesn't it? You know, these actors that sort of fall off and fall into right-wing circles and invariably, seemingly, predominantly heroes, aren't they? Was Lawrence Fox a hero in anything? I don't really... I mean, he was Watson, right? He was Watson in the spin-off of whatever that was that he was in. But that's more of a sidekick role, isn't it? But still, you know, heroes in TV productions, dramas. You know, you get used to being seen as a hero, or somebody important at least. You know, I wonder if there's a sort of an ego, a narcissism thing to it. Maybe when you get knocked back and you've been treated like a hero, and every time you cross the street, somebody recognizes, oh, it's Hercules, it's Superman, it's Braveheart. Then when you get knocked back, maybe it's a bit more of a, you know, hit to the ego. Maybe it's psychologically, it's harder to handle. I don't know. But this is why, I don't know if you've noticed, guys, this is why I've worked so hard to remain un-hero-like. You know, remain nobody's hero. Literally not one person in this entire world thinks I'm their hero. That is an accurate statement, including close members of my family. Like, literally nobody. Nobody in the household is like, way to go, Dad. Never. You know? Even my kids are like, are you going out to the shed again? Are you going back out? Okay, what, to do your show? Are you? Jesus Christ. You know, I don't think they have any understanding of how hard parenthood is, though. You know? Like, I would honestly just say that I'm doing a show out here just to get a fucking break, you know? Just come out here and shout at my tools for 90 minutes. Like that, the show is insignificant. It's like, I'm not out here to do a show. I'm out here to get some space, guys. Anyway, Dean Cain. Stay on topic tonight, Aid. Try. Just try. Dean Cain was in the news this week because he said he's enrolling. He's like a big Trump guy now. Big MAGA guy. He said he's enrolling to become an ICE agent himself. He's becoming an ICE agent for Donald Trump's Stasi force. So that's fun. That must be really weird being a kid in the United States now, mustn't it? You know, looking up to Superman. You watch old reruns of it on, you know, Lifetime or Showtime or whatever that channel is. You watch old reruns of Lois and Clark and Superman, and you see him, like, you're familiar with him. He's your hero. You're a kid in the US. Superman's your hero. Of course he is. You see him as a protector of all that is well and good. You know, he's all about fairness and humanity and equality and what's right. Imagine the anti-immigration fucking SS army rock up to your house. You're a kid in America. The fucking American SS rock up and punch your dad in the face and drag him into a blacked out Ford Tornado. Imagine that happens. Right? And you're only a kid. You're only a kid. And so you still believe the stuff that you see on Showtime every afternoon at 3 o'clock when you get home from school. You still think Superman's your hero. And so you see your dad dragged off into the blacked out Ford. And so you start calling out for Superman because you don't know, do you? You're just a kid. Maybe he is real. Maybe he is a superhero. You're desperate. You're like, Superman. Superman, come and save me. And maybe he will. You know, maybe Superman will hear your cries and he'll come flying through the sky. Maybe he will come and save you and your pup. And so you scream out for Superman to come and save the day. And then one of the ICE agents takes off his mask and it is fucking Superman. And yet not at the same time, because it's just Dean Cain in military fatigues with his officer number just scratched off and hidden and a cheap red cap. And he's just stood there laughing at you, handcuffing your cousin. Must be a weird time to be a kid when Superman is your baddie. Speaking of anti-heroes and people who you might hope might step up and do the right thing with their powers, Marjorie Taylor Green put her congressional powers to excellent use this week by lobbying for a doubling of the minimum wage and to write off student loans if they're over the... I got you, didn't I? I got you for a second. Of course you fucking didn't. Of course she didn't. She would never do that. I can't even keep a straight face suggesting that Marjorie Taylor Green would ever do anything so compassionate. Did she use her congressional might to raise awareness of a climate crisis that's almost certain to lay a quilt of decline and deprivation over the crop fields of her home state of Georgia's bread and butter agricultural industries. Also, no, she didn't do that either. No, this week she was using her powers to lobby to have a fantasist campaign finance abuser, convicted fraudster, and identity thief, George Santos. You should probably also mention he was a Republican congressman, as well as all of that. I honestly don't know which one is more shameful. Out of all of those, identity thief, campaign finance abuser, fantasist, convicted fraud, or a Republican Party Congress. It's tricky. Which is more shameful? Because you know when they say there's no honor among thieves. Have you ever heard that expression? They say there's no honor among thieves. Thieves are just vagrants, heathens. They got no respect. They'll steal off anyone. There's no honor among thieves. But I feel like, sometimes there is some honor among criminals, among thieves, sometimes, maybe. Like Oliver Twist and the Artful Dodger. I feel like they were pretty tight, weren't they? They were sort of Bezzy buds, no? And I reckon the old boys that did over the Hatton Gardens, like that robbery a few years ago, I reckon that they're quite well respected in the criminal underworld. Also, do you think? Do you agree? People in the live chat? I think there's some honour among thieves. But I also think if you were in group therapy in jail and like 4 of you were thieves, and then, say, 2 of you were drug dealers, and you're all sat around in a circle and you're taking turns to speak about your crimes and what you've learned from them and how you're going to be a different person. And please don't judge me. And could you guys forgive me? Because then the people that I've hurt, maybe then they could forgive me. And in time, I could forgive myself. Like if you're going around group therapy in a circle in jail and it gets through the drug dealers and through the actual thieves and the actual criminal, and finally it gets around to you, and you're a Republican MAGA congressman, I feel like all of the thieves and the drug dealers would be like, there's honor among like us lot. I don't know about you. Like that's, we just knocked over a bank. We just robbed a bank. But you know what? The bank is full of rich people and they've all got insurance. So it's not even a big thing. Who were we even hurting? And the Republican congressman is just like, right, okay, well, so... then the rest of the thieves and the drug dealers are like, well, so you shut down a socialized birth control facility while claiming your mistress's Brazilian butt lift as a congressional expense. Like, that is some evil shit. There's no honor among congressmen. I feel like they're next level. Republicans, MAGAs, Tories. They're not just bad. Not just barrel scraping. But it's like a broken lift level. A broken lift calamitously just plummeting to Earth's crustian levels of low. That's where those guys pitch in. So, Marjorie Taylor Green used her congressional superpowers to lobby for George Santos, who was convicted of and pled guilty to wire fraud, identity theft, and he got 7 years in jail. 7 years. Supposedly a first offence. It's quite a lot. And he's literally been in there for 1 week. He's been in there for a matter of hours in this. It's probably like a club-fed Ghislaine Maxwell. I doubt it's like a heavy, violent jail. And he can't even hack it after 1 week. He's calling in favors. He's been in there for a week, and already Marge is like, I think he's learned his lesson. After a week, she wants him out. Like, these people are just, you know, I mean, who even are they anymore? You know, I'm like, and these people are the conservatives? Are they? Over there? Like, who remembers when Republicans were tough on crime? Who remembers that shit? It wasn't that long ago. Who remembers when the Republican Party were the tough on crime guys? And now they're also like lily-livered and liberal about this stuff. There's a pardon over here, and this congressman is a crook, but I think he's learned his lesson. I think it's time. We're a Christian country. I think it's time that y'all better forgive. Is where they're at. And how weird is it, man? How weird is it that in Republican circles, in American government, you can literally lie on your CV as a congressman, which is also what he did, by the way, about having this glittering Wall Street career. You can misuse your campaign funds, which is also what he did. You can inflate the funds that you do have in reports back to the senior, like, Republican Party about the cash that you have raised as a, you know, a local, like, Georgian congressional candidate or whatever. You have to report back to the RNC and say, this is how much money I raised. So if I get over the threshold, then you'll give me even more money because obviously I'm a winning candidate, right? He inflated those figures and robbed the RNC of more money. He submitted false financial disclosures to the House. And this is like, I'm not just making this up. You could go and search this up, right? This is on BBC and the Wall Street Journal. Just go and check it out. It's just fucking wild. The level of corruption over there. It's like, you know, Superman's gone bad. Republicans have gone soft on crime, but then also concurrently they're more crimey at the same time. You can do all of that crooked shit. And if you get caught, on the rare occasion that they do actually take action against you, immediately a congresswoman will step up for you and be like, well, yeah, but but like this is what she said, right? I've got a tweet here. I've got a tweeted out statement that she said, right? So he gets convicted. He gets sentenced to 7 years for this this dissonant performance of corruption. Almost impressive, the amount of corruption there. I will say that. Almost impressive. So he gets 7 years, and Marjorie Taylor Green is on Twitter, or X, and she's pushing for his sentence to be commuted only a week into it. And this is what she says. She says, George Santos has taken responsibility. Miss Green wrote in a social media post, he's shown remorse. It's time to correct this injustice. I'm like, injustice? How is this injustice? It's time to correct this injustice, says Marjorie Taylor Green. I know it sounds bad, right? It sounds a bit judgy, maybe, for me to say this stuff. You know, because sometimes people get themselves in awkward situations, and it's one bad decision that's actually trying to dig them out of the previous bad decision, and the whole thing just kind of gets out of hand and snowballs. Maybe he got a bit carried away. Maybe there's more to this aid. Maybe he does feel sorry. But I looked at what he's actually done to take responsibility earlier, right? Because that's what she said. He's shown remorse. He's taken responsibility. So I took a look. What does taking responsibility look like? And this is actually going to shock you, listeners. Viewers, this will probably surprise you a little bit because it turns out he's done nothing. He's done literally nothing. He's done absolutely nothing to resolve the situations that have been yielded by his corruption and his fraud. He hasn't met any of the punishment criteria, the financial recompense payment things, Because when you get convicted of fraud, they don't just say you're a naughty boy, go to jail for 7 years. They want you to pay the money back. So if you still got the money, there's payment orders on top of the prison sentence. And he's not even tried to pay back any of the money that he's taken. He's done, I'll tell you what he's done. He's done that thing that guys on Love Island do. When they get caught out. When they get caught coming on to one of the other girls in the villa. It'd be a new girl. Be a girl that's just arrived. One of the bombshells, they call them, don't they? When a new girl or a new guy arrives in the villa to start kicking up dust. Mix it up a bit. Get a couple of bombshells in here. A guy will get caught coming on to one of the new girls that turned his head, caught his eye, and he gets caught snogging her. And then he's caught, or word gets back to the girl that he's supposed to be with, and then he says sorry. Then he shows remorse. Right? That's what they do every time. Every single they get caught out, they go I know, babe. I know. The thing is, babe, I didn't know that we was a thing. I didn't know that we was a proper thing, because we never said that we was gonna lock it down. We didn't say that we was exclusive, and this time it's gonna be different because I'm gonna own it. All right, I'm owning it. I'm on some grown man shit. I own my mistakes, right? That's the sort of shit that they come out with. I just got confused, I was 100%, man. 100%, I just got confused. Because, we weren't exclusive. We ain't, locked it down. But I get it. I own it. I'm owning it, babe. And so then, off the back of saying that stuff, then they reap the social collateral of appearing to acknowledge their flaws, don't they? Because there is definite social collateral in doing that. It's a likable trait, I think. Particularly for men, I think. To acknowledge that you got something wrong. Don't blame it on everybody else. Don't blame it on the woman who put her trust in you and you threw it back in her face. You don't blame it back. You acknowledge it. That's a likable trait, to show that responsibility. Accept it. I own it, babe. But then they make zero fucking effort to correct anything or be better the next time. They own it and then they immediately run off to rent something else. It's that's exactly what I do, isn't it? I own it. I'm owning it. But do you mind if I just run off and snog that new girl, Tina? Because, oh my God, oh my days, bruv. She's so fine. But I'm owning this for a minute. But I'll be right back to own it in a second. It's superficial taking responsibility is what it is. It's just superficial owning it. It's, it's like an actor taking responsibility, in the way that they'll say the words. They know the right lines that they're supposed to say. They'll say that, but there's nothing underneath. So it's like a tea mug. It's like a... I'm really overdoing the metaphors here. But it's like a tea mug. Imagine a tea mug that says the nice words on the front of it, but there's no actual, substance inside it, Inside the mug. It's that's men on fucking Love Island. I like that. And it's the same with this guy. Sorry, that was a really long tangent there. It's the same with this guy, this congressman. He gets busted doing all of this stuff. Corruption, fraud, lies, inflated figures, gaining access to funds that he's not supposed to, using it on things that he's not supposed to. Now he and his friends are up there going like, I take responsibility. I own my mistakes. I'm taking I'm showing genuine remorse. You know, and his friends, Marge and the like, get up there and go, he's taking responsibility. He's showing genuine remorse. He's owning it. And then the judge is like, well, it's $375,000 in restitution, and you got to forfeit another $200,000 to the court. And he's paid absolutely none of it. None. Not $1. And he's telling the court, by the way, he says, I don't have any money. That's his defense. He says, I may have, gained access to this stuff. I might have abused the money in the past, but that doesn't mean that I have any money now. Like, my defense costs, my lawyers, this, that, and the other. I don't have this money. You're asking me for like $700,000, like all in. I just don't I'm not a rich guy. And the court are like, check this out. Like the court have said, federal prosecutors challenged Santos's claim that he couldn't pay, pointing out that he had earned substantial sums recently, including $400,000 from cameo appearances. From cameo! Of course it's cameo. Of course he's earned $400,000 from cameo phone clips, because this is America and this is 2025 and this is this timeline that we're on. So $400,000 from cameo, and it says and another $400,000 from a documentary. So he's actually $100,000 up, isn't he, on what he has to pay? $400,000 from cameo, $400,000 from a documentary, and they want about $700,000 out of him. And Marjorie Taylor Green is like, he's learned his lesson. He's learned his lesson. He's taken responsibility. He's owning it. And the court are like, I mean, any day now with the check would be great. Get some of that sweet, sweet responsibility. Just put it in the check hole over there. George Santos. Man. I mean, what a weird world when you got Marjorie Taylor Green as your character witness. Marjorie Taylor Green that's who's sticking up for you. That's who's lobbying for you, is it? I mean, who was on the list that didn't get called? It was like, who did they skip over? Who did they made a list of people who could lobby publicly, to commute the sentence. Who did they skip over on that list? Well, I don't know if he's suitable. I don't know if this guy'll go down too well. Lobbying for your sentence commutation, George Santos. Who did they skip over who didn't make the cut to leave Marge as the go-to? As the sensible option? I'm going to quickly take a look at some super chats. We've got Captain Coconut dropping in to say, they say that we should never feed the trolls. But as with anything, there are exceptions. So with this in mind, here you go, Aid. Have a biscuit. Thank you. Thanks very much. Is that sort of tacitly calling me a troll? I don't know. I'll take it. I mean, you think I have dignity, do you? I'll take your £5. I will eat a biscuit. Yeah. Didn't expect it to go that way, did you? Have I got any other super chats I need to have a look at? Let's have a look. Fan funding. Brian White dropped a super chat. Jim Speak has upgraded to a certified A Thompsoner, which means that you get to go on. I'm going to have to update my credits, aren't I, for Patreons and YouTube channel members who are supporting the channel. I've got to pop your name on there now, Jim. Give me more paperwork to do. And what's up to Gabe? Gabe has dropped in the chat as well. Hey, what are you saying, Gabe? Right, where was I? What was I talking about? Marjorie Taylor Green, wasn't I? Marjorie Taylor Green, friend of the show. MTG, as she's sometimes referred to. MTG has been in the news for other reasons, of course, this week. She's kind of broken ranks with MAGA now. I don't know if you guys saw this. She's, quite famous. She's from Georgia, right? MAGA heartlands. But yeah, this week she sort of broke away from the rest of the Trumpified Republican Party. Started criticizing them, saying that it's not a good place for women, that they don't take women seriously. I heard a thing earlier that said that actually what this all comes down to, the reason that she's broken away from them, that she suddenly decided that she's got an issue maybe with Trump, but certainly with senior Republican Party leaders. The actual reason for why it's now, and she's pissed off at them, is because she wanted her friend, Elise Stefanik, she wanted her to get the UN ambassador job. But Donald Trump gave it to Mike Waltz instead. Mike Waltz, you will recall, he got into a lot of bother a few weeks, maybe months ago now, for inviting a journalist into a private Washington, D.C. and Pentagon chat about security, about defense. And they were hosting it on Signal, not a sort of private, encrypted D.C. chat thing. It was just a Signal chat, right? So Mike Waltz is in there sharing sensitive defense information with Pete Hegseth. And Donald Trump has decided that Mike Waltz, who is behind all of that, Mike Waltz should get the UN ambassador job instead of Elise Stefanik. And here's the weird thing, is Donald Trump did nominate Elise Stefanik first. He was like, yep, she's my gal. The job is yours. If they listen to me, here's my recommendation. Off you go. And then he withdrew the recommendation and then put forward Mike Waltz, a substandard candidate. He's like, yeah, this is my guy. Perfect guy for the job. So that pissed off Marjorie Taylor Green. She's seeing people get promoted above her, faster than her, and above all of her friends, and seeing her friends get sidelined and overlooked. And so now, suddenly, she has this crisis of morality. Guys. Now, suddenly, she's like, I don't know if I could stick around in the Republican Party any longer. You guys you've all lost your goddamn morals. I mean, is anyone even going to pardon my fraudster friend or not? You've all lost your morals and common sense. There's something kind of sad about this, isn't there? MTG falling out of favor with Republicans, parting ways after she's invested so much time, effort, and her dignity into Team MAGA. Like, it's kind of tragic, isn't it? When you see these female, specifically Republicans, lining up to shit on their own. Your Lauren Boeberts, your Marjorie Taylor Greens, the nice, attractive blonde ladies that do the press conferences in the White House. Sometimes it's confusing. Like, why would you take that job? Like, these guys are all quite obviously misogynist. They don't give a fuck about you. Why would you do this? And I really think, like, the strategy is that they think if they just help the fat, white, bloated conservatives, old men enough, then they can enrich themselves and their families sufficiently to then protect themselves and their families from the awful policies that inevitably then get rolled out. I really think, like, that is the strategy, isn't it? That is the tactic. The theory. Is they're like, well, you know what? If birth control gets cancelled, it's fine. Like, I've got private health care through the Republican Party, so I'm okay. It'll be all right if birth control gets withdrawn, which is what they're talking about, by the way. Gender equality laws get rolled back. It's fine. It's fine. I'm already a senator or, whatever, congresswoman. If gender equality law gets rolled back, it's fine. I've already surpassed that problem. I'm good. Like if they just shit on their own people and play that tokenistic role for long enough, convincingly enough, for the benefit of the party, of the men, then they'll be rewarded for it. But how many times do you see this shit, come back around and hurt people that made that calculation or miscalculation? How many times do we need to see this come back to bite people on the bum? How many? It always happens in every scenario I've seen it in. It's like it's the Latinas for Trump thing. It's the, if you want to go way further back, it's the Association of German National Jews. Jewish people that used to cheer on Hitler for nationalistic reasons. It's the, if you go back to the, 1700s, 1800s, whenever, in America, it's the one black guy that got hired as the house guy who then beat the shit out of the other plantation workers. It's that thing. If I just help them, then maybe I can protect me and my family. Maybe I could just get it up high enough that it won't actually affect me when they definitely do roll out the horrible stuff. Like when it actually comes down to it, and Trump has to make a decision about things, about who he's going to recommend, about who he's going to nominate for key positions of power and influence, whether he's going to give a job, another job for the boys sort of thing, or he's going to give it to a woman. Even one of the women who pretended that they weren't all horrendously misogynistic, like he is what it is. It doesn't matter if you're pretending or if you're convincing or not, like he is what he is. He is misogynistic. He is sexist and chauvinistic. He's going to choose one of the boys. He's just going to do that. I've got to pause for a sip, man. How are we all doing in the live chat? What's going on? Oh, that's delicious. Do you remember the days when I used to just knock back 2 or 3 beers while I was doing this? And now it seems so foreign, the idea of getting, sort of half cut and smashed while doing a podcast. I'd probably be fumbling my words and sort of half slurring by this point. 8:10, 8:15. Hugely unprofessional, some might say. But I always used to think of it like, if you are seeking to portray yourself as a dirtbag, booze hound, half-pissed stand-up comedian who happens to be ranting or performing to a camera, if that's what you're choosing to present yourself, in a weird way, it is professional, isn't it? It's the way that I used to look at it as. If it helps to further portray that character, bizarrely, knocking back 5 beers is professional. Anyway, I suppose we should talk a little bit about politics closer to home, shouldn't we? I've been ranting, and raving, roasting and ridiculing political developments that have been taking place overseas, over in the US of A. What's been going on closer to home here in the UK? I don't know if you guys saw this afternoon. Actually, I think it broke this morning, this story. Rupert Lowe, formerly of Reform fame, until he fell out with Nigel Farage. And then he latterly referred to Reform as a sort of, the cult of Nigel. He said nobody can disagree with Nigel, and then he ended up getting the boot. Sort of proving his point to some extent, really, isn't it? But anyway, sorry, get to the point, Ed. Rupert Lowe, formerly of Reform fame, he ran off to start his own party. It's called Restore, I believe. He got himself in bother earlier because, as it's the height of asylum hysteria now, with protests planned nationally all weekend, so bloodlusted are we for some summer riots? And I really mean that, honestly. Like, we truly are. We are fiending for those riots now, aren't we? Nationally, it's just, people just know it's going to happen. People on the right are like, Britain is like a tinderbox, and people on the left are just like, I can just see something really bad's going to happen. The weather's heating up this weekend. It's not looking good. Not looking good. People are fiending for... There are racists in pubs looking at the TV right now like it's a fucking World Cup game. Egging it on. Come on, son! You know, like every time a bulletin comes on, every time a news flash comes on, and it hasn't enveloped into multi-city rioting, they're like, it's like a goal that's been missed to them. They're like, oh, come on! Anyway, Rupert Lowe got himself in bother earlier because he thought, and I suppose it's an easy mistake to make, he thought this boat that he saw, he thought the boat was a load of asylum seekers, a load of illegal migrants, as they refer to them. As I say, it's an easy mistake to make. That's what he thought it was, but actually... it was a team of charity rowers. A team of charity rowers off the coast of Great Yarmouth. Like, I'm not even kidding. Rowers, they're definitely immigrants over there. Are you sure? I don't think they look like immigrants. They look like a rowing team. Yeah. Like, is it literally, it's anyone in a boat now, is it? They just hate boats. They've broadened it out. They're like, we don't like to discriminate. Any boat. Any boat. You know, meanwhile, us lot are like, really? Any boats? Even billionaires? How about a submarine? How about a billionaire's boat in Italy sinking in a weirdly, like, narrow thunderstorm? Is that what's happening? Is it the alt-right killing off the billionaires because they hate boats so much? Anyone in boats. Anyone except Baroness Moan, apparently. Got it. Okay. So yeah, he thought that they were asylum seekers. It was actually a rowing team. Guys. Oh, and of course we have a tap dancing tosser award for this week. Can anybody in the live chat take a wild guess as to who is going to win the tap dancing tosser award this time? If you're not familiar with this award, this is something that we like to dish out to people who perform their own idiocy. They're tap dancing tossers. They like to perform for our amusement their own cretiny, their own bellengery, and then we hand them over a statuette in recognition of their services to our amusement. Anybody in the live chat got any idea tonight what or who is going to win the tap dancing tosser award? Let me see if I got the jingle ready. Where is it? Here we go. You ready? If you haven't heard the jingle before, I'm actually pathetically proud of it. Here we go. Well done. That's absolutely pathetic. Okay. So, this week's Tap Dancing Tosser Award, I don't believe this individual has won it before. He's not a multi-instance recipient of it, not like Dan Wootton and Darren Grimes. Friends of the show, Darren Grimes and Dan Wootton. This is an individual who he richly deserves it, though, on this occasion. Because this is an exchange that effortlessly wins the award for this week. Just bear in mind how hot it's been of late, okay? Bear in mind the mean or median, whatever that word is, the average Earth temperature Bear in mind that is going up and up year on year, and the weather is becoming more volatile and violent, and food is getting singed out, burnt and flooded. Guys, food inflation is real. Off the back of this, climate change is real. And honestly, I'm fucking terrified by it. You might have picked that up over the last couple of years. Anyway, with all of that borne in mind, here is an exchange between farmer who admitted he purchased his land, his agricultural land, to get around inheritance tax. Farmer Jeremy Clarkson and a random user on Twitter. Petrolhead, Tory, lefty bashing Jeremy Clarkson. He says this. He puts up a tweet earlier. He says, it looks like this year's harvest will be catastrophic, and that should be a worry for anyone who eats food. And then this account replies back to him. The harvest is going to be catastrophic. You should be worried if you like food. This account, Claudicant, replies and says, is this a dawning realization that the weather isn't how it used to be? For some reason? And Jeremy Clarkson replies, he says, it's certainly got worse since Miliband embarked on his net zero mission. Like, what the fuck? What the... I mean, is he joking? Is he joking? It has to be a joke, right? He says, it looks like this year's harvest will be catastrophic. That should be a worry for anyone who eats food. Claudicant says, is this a dawning realization that the weather isn't how it used to be for some reason? Like, you know, alluding to climate change. And Clarkson says, it's certainly got worse since Miliband embarked on his net zero. It has to be a joke. It has to be. Judging on the stupidity that you would have to be dealing with, you'd have to have been born with or oxygen starved into enduring to think net zero was to blame for crop yields being low. You'd have to be really stupid to believe that. So it has to be a joke, doesn't it? But then, like, the alternative is then that he is joking. But I honestly think it's beyond the reaches of Jeremy Clarkson's personality to construct an actual joke. You know? Like, he's a humorist. Like, people call him a humorist, and he would never be described as a comedian, I don't... In his better moments, maybe he's approaching satire on occasion. But in terms of his humor and ability, like, he normally just kind of what does he do? What's a Clarkson-esque kind of way of making some people laugh? Like, he scoffs at people, doesn't he? He thinks it's fun to hate, or he thinks it's fun to violently criticize somebody who he shouldn't. Oh, you could never say that about this person. Oh, well, just stand back and watch me. I'm Jeremy Clarkson. I say the unsayable. He's that kind of thing, isn't he? He scoffs. He hates people who he's not supposed to hate and says something horrible about them. You know, what's some examples of Jeremy Clarkson humour without going to Stuart Lee about this? He, a few years ago, he said he did the Argentina thing and on Top Gear. Argies! 1982! Get in! It's that sort of stuff. Because you're not supposed to say that. It's mean. It's xenophobic. It's weird. Chinese people? I'll call them a little slur. Meghan Markle? Oh, drag her through the streets naked. I'm not supposed to say that. So is he joking? Is he joking when he says this? I think it's beyond him to be that sort of self-referential or like in reverse kind of comedy. I think jokes are beyond Jeremy Clarkson. But equally, if the joke is beyond him, could he actually be that stupid? You know, it's like a sort of mental Krypton factor question or something, isn't it? You know, you have to work out which niche, narrow window of idiocy he fits into, don't you? Because he's got to be too stupid to understand how proper comedy works, while at the same time not stupid enough to believe climate protections are worthless. He's just in that pinch point, that tiny little bit there, you know? Like, I was chatting with a friend of mine on WhatsApp earlier about this. And he's a long time sort of shy Tory, home counties Tory kind of guy. A long time Clarkson fan. Back in the day, I don't hear him say it so much now, but back in the day, he used to be like one of the, Clarkson for PM, Clarkson for Prime Minister, like one of these guys. He always used to buy his books way back in the day. I remember seeing them on his shelf, and he would quote things from them. And earlier on today, you know, I was taking the piss out of him for doing this thing on Twitter, and he said, I mean, you take the piss, Aid, but he does make some really good points. And I was like, all right. And he was like, no, you should seriously, like, you should check out some of his stuff sometimes, Aid. You know, you like comedy, you like humour, you like exaggeration, satire, you know? Check out, just get his latest book, you know, it's quite funny. Sometimes he's quite funny, Aid. You'd like him. And I'm like, you know, honestly, like, the sooner that people on the right who don't understand comedy at all, or much else for that matter, stop trying to teach me about politics. More often than not, I know more about that than they do also. The sooner they drop that about the politics and the comedy and stop presuming to tell me about what comedy is or why something's funny or how this politics makes sense when it doesn't, the sooner they do that, the better, truly. Because I've done comedy for a while. You know, I know it. I love it. I've done politics for a while. I know it. I don't really love it. I don't know if anyone really loves politics, but you know what I mean. You know, I know my way around these things. Well, you should check out Clarkson's latest book, though. Wait, mate, I would rather die in a fucking shark attack. I would rather die in a shark attack in a pool in Milton Keynes filled entirely with my dad's bathwater. I would. And just as I'm screaming out for help in this pool in Milton Keynes with a fucking shark biting off my legs, I'm screaming out for help. Just at that point, I hope Rupert Lowe's rowers go past and Dean Cain flies in with a cape and deports my fucking family. I would still rather that than read a fucking Clarkson book. Guys, that's it. That's it from this episode of the podcast. God, I'm feeling the rage. I'm brimming with hate. I'm going to stick around for the lock-in now. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do drop me a little review first and foremost. Need to get more reviews on Apple Podcasts, man, because then it helps you get recommended to people who like podcasts. If you're watching later on YouTube, then give it a little like, give it a comment, because that helps to boost the algorithm too. And if you are in a position to, and you're enjoying my content, do consider joining the Patreon or signing up on YouTube. You can join the channel. It's a sort of channel membership thing. If you go onto my profile, you can just click join. It starts at only £1 a month. So who doesn't have £1, man? Throw me £1 to show your love and get me that little bit closer to financial security. one Patreon subscriber at a time. I've just got 800,000 more to get, and then I'm sold. Or do you know what? Look at it this way. The more of you that come to join the Patreon, the less likely I am to commit campaign finance fraud or like defraud the Republican National Commission or whatever the fuck that guy did. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'll be back next week with the alternative paper reviews. Do subscribe to the Clips channel if you can, but if you're not staying for the lock-in, that is it. I'm out. Until next time, peace. Right, let's go to the lock-in, shall we? Here we go. If you've got any questions, if you want to throw some Q&A shit, now is a good time. Where is the lock-in thing? Oh my God. Have I lost it? Oh no, there it is. Here we go. Right. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Oh my Lord. That doesn't look good.